end of PQ, if we can reach there. Honourable second member for Rivière-des-Anguilles-Souillac, yes?
Thank you, Madam. Question B462, please.
Madam Speaker, as regards to Part A of the question, I'm informed by the Bank of Mauritius that the Mauritius Investment Corporation Limited has acquired from Omnicane 3 plots of land for a total of 172 acres in constituency number 13, Rivière-des-Anguilles-Souillac, which was the constituency of the previous Minister of Finance. The extent and location of each plot of land are as follows: 38.4 acres at Richebois, 61 acres at Britannia, and 72.6 acres at Tayac. A management contract was entered between the MIC and Omnicane for the latter to plant and harvest the sugarcane and to process into cane sugar and other products, as well as in the management of the sugarcane fields. That is, in between harvesting and during harvesting, against a small fee paid to the MIC. Madam Speaker, concerning Part C of the question, I wish to inform the House that in view of the ramifications regarding the portfolio of the MIC, the Bank of Mauritius is currently examining different options for the restructuring of the MIC, including the optimal use of land assets acquired under very dubious conditions for more than 10 billion rupees from Medjin Sugar Estate and Omnicane. Furthermore, looking at the price paid for the plots of land purchased by the MIC in various locations, this will be submitted to the government valuer for the latter to ascertain whether it was value for money.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Too
Madam.
many things happening at the same time. Please.
Étant un vrai démocrate, I know that the Honourable Prime Minister will inform the House about the information containing in the management contract, whether it has been done in such a way that it favors the MIC or it is one-sided, favoring only the companies. Thank you.
Yes,
We will
Honourable
certainly
Prime Minister.
look into that, including the valuation of the plots of lands.
Yes, Honourable second member for Grand Bay Poudre d'Or. Mr. Bichan? No? I'm sorry. Honourable third member for Port Louis North and Mont Blanc, Mr. Kazean.
Speaker, PQB 463, please.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed that there have been several verbal and written complaints regarding the deplorable state of the Terre Rouge Civil Status Sub-Office situated at Le Hocher. The Safety and Health section of the Ministry of Public Service and Administration Reforms has also highlighted the poor state of the building and has made specific recommendations to improve the working environment thereof. The Honourable Member himself made a surprise visit, I believe, and he saw for himself. The Civil Status Division had on several occasions requested the lessor to undertake the necessary renovations. Unfortunately, no action was taken by the lessor. Consequently, 2 tender exercises were launched by the Civil Status Division in 2018 and 2021, respectively, to identify alternate premises that comply with safety and health standards and are However, both exercises were unsuccessful. Subsequently, the Civil Status Division has conducted several site visits in the region to identify a suitable location for the sub-office. An office space located within the Terre Rouge Village Council multipurpose complex has now been found to be suitable for that purpose. An agreement has been reached with the Pamplemousses District Council for the allocation of the office space, and the council is now renovating the building. It is expected that the sub-office will be able to move to the new premises by August of this year.
Yes, you're happy? Yes, Honourable second member for Rivière-des-Anguilles and Souillac again.
Merci. Question B464, s'il vous plaît.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Financial Crimes Commission that Mr. Navin Bikari, former Director General of the Independent Commission Against Corruption, proceeded to London on 3 occasions in connection with the hearing of the Privy Council for the Medpoint case. In 2018, Mr. Bikari proceeded twice to London, and from the 28th of September to 7th of October, and from 21st to 28th of November. As for 2019, he traveled to London from the 12th to the 20th of January. These missions were approved by the board of the then ICAC, which board was chaired by Mr. Bikari himself. In accordance with Section 19(3)(b) of the Repeal Prevention of Corruption Act, he did not recuse himself, I must say. And when the decision on his mission was being discussed and subsequently approved by the board, where he was himself there. This is a blatant case of conflict of interest. What was equally contemptible was his presence at the Privy Council, despite the fact that the Privy Council, through correspondence dated 13th of December 2018, Lord Kerr directed that ICAC's application to make oral submission be refused. He wasn't given permission. In spite of that, he proceeded on mission to London, accompanied by Mr. Rupchan, acting chief legal advisor, and Mr. Sohan, attorney at law. Madam Speaker, what should also be recalled is that Mr. Navin Bikari changed his original stand, which was in favor of prosecution in the Medpoint case. He changed his opinion a few days before the sitting of the Privy Council. The total cost, Madam Speaker, of the missions undertaken by Mr. Bikari, Mr. Rupchan and Mr. Sohan for the hearing of the Privy Council in connection with the Medpoint case amounted to 1,373,990 rupees and 2 cents for a mission that the Privy Council said they would not be able to do oral submissions.
Okay. Now it's Honourable Second Member for Granby Poudre-D'Or.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B465.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for asking the question. This is yet another, every week we see this, another example of cronies of the previous government benefiting from contracts awarded by public bodies. I'm informed by the Economic Development Board that its head office shifted to 7 Exchange Square building in Eben in December of 2022. Now, a tender exercise was launched in October of 2018, even before the building was constructed. The tender exercise was started, as if they knew the building would be there. All the other bidders in the tender exercise were found to be non-responsive, and only PSH Investment Limited was qualified and awarded the contract. As regards Part A of the question, the EDB signed a lease agreement with PSH Investment Limited, which is the owner of the building, on the 9th of August 2019 for 5,000 square meters of office space and 130 parking slots. As per the lease agreement signed, the building was to be delivered in December 2020 and rent payable from February 2021. But the office space was actually delivered in October 2022. That is a delay of almost 2 years. On the 30th of May 2024, the ADB signed a second lease agreement with PSH Investment for an additional office space of 170 square meters at the ground floor of the same building, and also for 2 additional parking slots. Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Corporate and Business Registration Department that PSH Investment Limited is fully owned by NG Holdings Limited, and the sole shareholder of NH Holdings Limited is Mr. Vinash Gopi. Concerning Part B of the question, the EDB started paying rent for the office building as from December 2022, which is when it started occupying the building. The total amount of rent paid by EDB from December 2022 to date is 104.9 million rupees. In addition, an amount of 7.2 million rupees has been paid for syndic fees. Regarding Part C of the question, the House may wish to note that the main conditions of the lease agreements are as follows. 1, the minimum lease period for the first lease agreement is 10 years, and the second lease agreement is 8 years and 6 months. The monthly rental is 625 rupees, excluding of VAT, per square meter for the first lease, and 1,147 rupees per square meter for the second lease. So in other words, the prices have jumped. As from December 2027, the rental must be reviewed every 2 years based on the increase in the consumer price index. Fourth, up to November 2027, the contracts may be terminated by giving 4 months' notice, but the EDB must pay the rental from the date of cancellation up to the expiry of the initial lease period. And fifth, after November 2027, the contract may be terminated by giving 4 months' notice, and they will then be not required to pay any further rental. I'm tabling a copy of the 2 lease agreements.
Yes, you're right. Yes, the Honourable First Member for La Caverne Phoenix, Mr. Lubin.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. B467, please.
Madam Speaker, the contribution sociale généralisée was introduced in September 2020, and the contribution to the National Pensions Fund were accordingly abolished. The CSG was introduced by way of regulations, and subsequently the Social Contribution and Social Benefits Act was enacted in 2021 to provide for the levy of CSG and payment of the benefits. The rates of CSG contribution in respect to an employee earning up to 50,000 rupees a month are 1.5% and 3% of basic salary for the employee and his employer, respectively. As regards to an employee earning above 50,000 rupees a month, the rates of contribution are 3% and 6%. I'm informed by the Mauritius Revenue Authority that since September 2020 to the end of April 2025, a total amount of 44.6 billion rupees has been collected as CSG contributions and remitted to the consolidated fund. The yearly breakdown is as follows: 5.25 billion in financial year 2020-2021, 8.35 billion in financial year 2021-2022, 9.51 billion in financial year 2022-2023, 10.9 billion in the financial year 2023-2024, and 10.6 billion in the current financial year as at April of 2025. With regards to Part A of the question, a number of benefits are being paid for various schemes and measures under the Social Contribution and Social Benefits Act. For the period 2021 to the end of April 2025, a total amount of 34 billion rupees has been spent under these schemes and measures. In addition, a total amount of 10.7 billion has been paid for allowance to the public sector employees, as well as meeting government contribution to the CSG. Madam Speaker, as far as Part B of the question is concerned, from a budgeting point of view, there is no remaining balance as at the end of April 2025. Let me remind the House that of a reply to PQB 1248 on the 24th of October 2023, the previous Minister of Finance said, and I quote, "Il ne reste donc rien par rapport aux contributions de la CSG." Unquote. At that very time itself, they had already depleted all the funds from the CSG. Madam Speaker, I'm tabling a breakdown of the funds collected and spent as at the end of April 2025. It must be noted that the previous government had engaged in the provision of a series of allowances from funds coming from the CSG, especially during the month preceding the last elections, in a clear attempt to lure the voters. This is yet an example of how the CSG funds had been dilapidated by the previous regime in the desperation to try to win the elections.
Yes, Mr. Bichuk.
Madam, we all know that the CSG system is what has destroyed the French social security system, and the fact that Mauritius is an aging population, has there been any study to understand till which date the current system is a sustainable one?
Before studies done, we know it's going to be disastrous because, as you say, we have an aging population. We are looking at all this in the context of the budget.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Lubin, you're okay? All right. Now we have Mr. the fourth member for Port-Louis North and Montagnard, Mr.
Yes,
Duval.
B468.
I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that the Safe City project came into operation on the 19th of August 2019 and is operating under the provisions of the Data Protection Act, which is in line with the European Union General Data Protection Regulation requirements. Prior to the implementation of the Safe City project, a certificate was issued under Section 44(4) of the Data Protection Act, exempting the Mauritius Police Force from the application of certain sections of the Data Protection Act in the interest of the national and public security. These sections pertain, among others, to the collection, access, and communication of personal data. On the 10th of November 2020, the Mauritius Police Force has been registered as the data controller by the Data Protection Act, by the Data Protection Office. On August 2023, the registration certificate has been renewed up to July 2026.
Yes?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, can the Prime Minister confirm that under the exceptions which apply to the Safe City project, no sanctions can be taken by the Data Protection Office for contraventions being done at the level of the Mauritius Police Force, if there are any?
Madam Speaker, the right of privacy is guaranteed by our Constitution. This is not an absolute right, but the same article also provides for exceptions in the interest of public safety and security. So the Constitution already gives the right of privacy, which is guaranteed.
No, if I may, I think the question was that the commissioner, the data commissioner, could not prosecute. Is that your question? That was the question, that the data protection commissioner cannot prosecute. I would...
If I may have another question.
Okay, go with another question.
Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister will agree that the risks of having a project like the Safe City operating in a legal vacuum, there are huge risks with regards to personal safeguard of personal data and risk of abuses. The Prime Minister himself has complained in the past of Safe City cameras being positioned in front of his office, which have now been removed specifically for espionage and not for the legitimate detection of crime. This is the reason why there is a need for a specific legislation.
No, question.
Rephrase it. Will the Prime Minister agree that there is a need for a specific legislation which provides for accountability and for sanctions and prosecution of offenders of the controllers and those users? And we have seen in the past how we have seen in the past the risk of abuses.
Don't make statements.
So will he not agree?
Every time I tell you this, put a question. Put a question, not statements.
Stop helping him.
Let me remind the honourable member, you joined the government. The Safe City came into operation on the 19th of August 2019. I didn't hear you say anything then. You didn't. You accepted post, you became the Deputy Speaker. But in any case, I said it very clearly in the House that there is no espionage being done now.
Right. Okay, your last supplementary question, but question, not statement.
Yes, Speaker. In May 2019, there was a private notice question specifically on the need to have a specific legislation because this Safe City operates outside of the purview of the Data Protection Act because of the certificate of exemption. Therefore, the Data Protection Commissioner cannot take any sanctions. There is only a code of conduct which is not challenged. So this issue was raised as far back as 2019. So it is not right to say it has a need.
Duval, I asked you specifically not to make a statement. It's a second statement you're making.
I put the question.
Yes.
Does the Prime Minister not think anymore that there's a risk of espionage and misuse of data collected by the Safe City Project? Does he not think that anymore?
Prime Minister.
The honourable member says his father, I suppose, asked the PMQ in May 2019 when he was in the opposition. But you joined the government afterwards. You didn't do anything then. Then everything was okay. Everything was fine. You didn't. Didn't you sit in the chair? Nothing happened then. Then everything was okay. Now you're asking the question when I've stopped the
Let the Prime
espionage
Minister
of
speak.
individuals in this country.
That was the last question. That was your last question. Honourable third member for Maibourg and Plaine Magnan.
Madam Speaker, B469, please.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that promotion in the Mauritius Police Force, including the very important Person Security Unit, what is called VIPSU, is governed by Regulations 14 and 19 of the Disciplined Forces Service Commission Regulations of 1997. In line with these regulations, Police Standing Order number 16 provides that promotion within the police force is to be carried out as follows: by way of competitive examination by the Disciplined Forces Services Commission, 2, upon successful completion of approved courses, 3, as specialists within a specialized unit, and 4, on a seniority basis. Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that due to the specialized nature of their duties and responsibilities, certain units of the police force, such as VIPSU, the Special Mobile Force, Engineering Squadron, National Coast Guard, Police Helicopter Squadron, National Security Service, Central Armory Police Dog Unit, among others, are categorized as specialized units. Promotion within the unit is supposed to be done on the basis of experience, qualifications, merit, and seniority. But this was not the case. We've seen how people who had been promoted by my government after so many years, VIPSU personnel, have been, the promotion was removed. This is unprecedented, removed, and they were brought back to the original. 2 of them had to go to court, and they won their case. Now they're going to be reinstituted. As for the numbers, from January 2015 to November 2024, 543 police officers posted at VIPSU have been promoted to higher ranks as follows: 444 police officers of different ranks have been promoted as specialists. It is to be highlighted that 225 of them were promoted, believe it or not, in 2024 itself. 11 police constables have been promoted to the rank of police sergeant after having successfully passed the competitive examination, and 22 police corporals and 66 police constables reckoning at least 20 years service in the police force promoted to the rank of police sergeant. But as I said, Madam Speaker, all this was done as if they chose. This one will be promoted, this one will be degraded. This is how it was done.
Yes. Once more, Honourable second member for Rivière des Anguilles, Souillac.
Question B470, s'il vous plaît.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the officer in charge of Airport Holdings Limited that for the period of January 2023 to December 2024, 810 persons have been recruited at different positions. 810. And 754 of them have been recruited through advertising, and the remaining 53 just by headhunting. In other words, you come, you don't come. I'm tabling the information requested by the honourable member. Madam Speaker, I want to bring to the attention of the House that when we look at the recruitment level at the Mauritius Duty-Free Paradise, 115 people were recruited, believe it or not, on the 2nd of September 2024. Only, in other words, a few weeks prior to the dissolution of Parliament. In this specific case, those recruited were on probation for a period of only 6 months, which is again unusual, whereas the collective agreement between the union and the management stipulates that new integrated posts should be for a period of 1 year, not 6 months. This is yet another example, Madam Speaker, of malpractice under the previous government, as if institutions where they could do anything. Forget the regulations, forget everything. They could just do anything because the country belonged to them.
Yes, Mr. Jamal.
Thank you. Can the Honorable Prime Minister provide information as to whether these who have been recruited lately, will they be left and punished, or will we take actions against them?
All this is being looked at.
Happy? Yes. Now I have Mr. Rukni, third member for Pamplemousses.
Madam Speaker, question B471.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, with regard to part A of the question, I'm informed by the Managing Director of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited that presently there are 5 Cape cranes at the Mauritius Container Terminal, and they are now fully operational. They were not before, they are now. With regard to part B of the question, I'm also informed that at the Cape, the Mauritius Container Terminal, which is operated by the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited, is 800 meters long, and as such, 2 large container vessels of a capacity of 16,000 20-foot equivalent units, or a combination of 3 container feeder vessels, can be accommodated at any one time. The multi-purpose terminal, on the other hand, has 4 quays to handle inter-island cargo, pure car carriers, livestock carriers, bulk coal, maize, soya bean meal vessels, as well as container vessels, as and when required. Each of them can accommodate 1 cargo vessel at a time. Madam Speaker, modernization and transformation of the portless harbour into an efficient port is a priority of this government. To that effect, in line with the government programme of 2025-2029, government recognises that a modern and efficient seaport will be of critical importance to boost the competitiveness of our economy as a destination for foreign investment. There will therefore be a total revamping of the port and other infrastructure to support maritime economic activities. At the heart of this transformation is effective management. To that end, a new managing director of the Cargo Handling Corporation was appointed on the 12th of December 2024, and since then the port situation has witnessed substantial improvement. The level of absenteeism has dropped from 30% to 10%, and daily sick leaves from 120 to just 10, which means the management is doing the job properly. There is discipline. There is no ship waiting time, which was previously 6 days, thus ensuring quicker turnaround now. Weekly container moves have increased from 7,500 to 11,000. Bulk vessels are now being serviced within 3.5 to 4.5 days as compared to 6 to 7 days. As a testament to this progress, the Mediterranean Shipping Company has launched in March of this year a direct Beira-Mozambique route. This has significantly enhanced connectivity, reducing transit time for containers to 5 to 6 days compared to 40 days, Madam Speaker. As regards part C of the question, I'm informed that measures are being taken by both the Mauritius Ports Authority and the Cargo Handling Corporation to enhance efficiency and competitiveness of the port. These include the implementation of a business plan of the Cargo Handling Corporation, which has been approved by its board on the 2nd of May of this year. This plan aims to modernize operations, extend capacity, and strengthen competitiveness of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited. To that effect, the Cargo Handling Corporation is planning to invest over the next 5 years an amount of 5.3 billion rupees in the acquisition of state-of-the-art equipment, implementation of green initiatives, capacity building, and digitalization of operation. As an interim measure, procedures have been initiated by Cargo Handling Corporation for the leasing of 2 mobile harbour cranes to address the demand of additional transshipment volumes from shipping lines. In addition, as recommended in the Port Master Plan, the Mauritius Ports Authority will proceed with the expansion of the container yard of the Mauritius Container Terminal of an area of about 5 hectares. This project will increase the storage capacity of the terminal and will thus improve operational efficiency.
I've only got 1 minute left. Are you okay? We won't have time, unfortunately, for the next question.
Next time?
Yes.
Next time? Oh.
Okay. Please bear with me. The the table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn: B481, B476, B479, and B473. Now we have questions addressed to honourable ministers. The Honourable Second Member for Grand Bay Poudre d'Or, Mr. Bijan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B482.
Minister of Public Service. Yes, yes.
Madam Speaker, may I please, first and foremost, thank the Honourable Member for his question. Madam Speaker, in my reply to PQB9, dated the 4th of February of this year, I informed the House, amongst other things, that no recruitment exercise had been carried out by the Public Service Commission, the Disciplined Forces Service Commission, and Local Government Service Commission after the issue of the writ of elections dated the 4th October 2024. The more so, Madam Speaker, the Public Service Commission had, on the 8th of October 2024, issued 2 circulars notifying responsible officers of all ministries to stay action on appointment to be made under delegated powers and on issue of public advertisement for filling of vacancies until further notice. On the same date, i.e. the 8th of October 2024, a circular was also issued by the Secretary of the Cabinet of the time and Head of Civil Service, drawing attention of the supervising officers of ministries and departments to the Code of Conduct which had been elaborated by the ESC, Electoral Supervisory Commission, for the 2024 National Assembly elections. Supervising officers were accordingly also advised to stand guided by the provision of the Code of Ethics for public officers. Madam Speaker, I had then also informed the House that following the appointment exercises carried out from July to September 2024, 281 officers had joined the public sector after the issue of writ of elections and drew attention to the fact that such a situation occurred in a matter of days prior to 4th of October and beyond 4th of October 2024. It is to be noted, Madam Speaker, that PQ9 concerned only recruitment in the public sector, whereas today's PQ of the Honourable Member is also addressing the issue of promotion. I am informed that letters of offer of appointment and promotion were issued during the election period as follows, Madam Speaker. Firstly, on the date of writ of elections, i.e. 4th of October, 63 cases. After the date of issue of writ of elections, 181 cases, including 173 cases of promotion in the police department approved by the DFSC since 23rd of September 2024. Madam Speaker, in line with circulars from the PSC and the Secretary of the Cabinet of the Civil Service, Head of the Civil Service, action should have been stayed regarding the issue of offers of appointment and or promotion until further notice. In view of the complexity of the matter and the wide-ranging implications, further consultations need to be held with relevant parties concerned and advice is awaited on this issue from the Office of the Attorney General personally before a final decision is taken on this matter. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Yes. The Honourable Third Member for Port Reitz North and Mont Blanc, Mr. Kazan.
Madam Speaker, PQB 483, please.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the Road Development Authority that in the context of the construction of the Terre Rouge Verdun-Trianon Link Road in December 2013, an existing access road linking the village of Boulingrin to Long Mountain was cut off as it was crossing the alignment of the Terre Rouge Verdun Link Road. Under the circumstances, with a view to maintaining an access, the underpass or tunnel at Boulingrin was constructed to cater for passage of local agricultural workers and landowners. I'm further informed that in view of the topography of the site where the underpass is located and due to mud from passing heavy vehicles, there is recurrent water and mud accumulation thereat. Regular maintenance works such as cleaning of drains, vegetation control are accordingly carried out by the RDA whenever the need arises. With a view to resolving the issue of water accumulation, a site visit was carried out on 8 April 2024 at the underpass by officers of the RDA, the NDU, the Land Drainage Authority, and the District Council of Pamplemousse. The LDA was accordingly requested to carry out an assessment of the catchment area and propose measures to mitigate, resolve the issue of water accumulation thereat. Madam Speaker, with regard to Part A of the question, I am informed by the LDA that several measures have been recommended to address the matter, including the reinstatement of the cross drains connecting the truck road drains to feeder Murmure and fitting with metal gratings to prevent water ponding. Other proposed remedial measures are being discussed with the RDA regarding their feasibility. In addition, I am informed by the LDA that the District Council of Pamplemousse undertook cleaning of vegetation around the underpass and the existing stormwater drain in February 2025, and a follow-up cleaning is scheduled in 2 weeks as part of its ongoing in-house maintenance. As regard Part B of the question, I am informed that the region of Boulingrin is already connected to the Montaillon-Crèvecoeur B19 road through an existing road, and as such, there is no need to provide an alternative road for the region of Boulingrin. However, given that the existing road which connects Boulingrin to the B19 road is a non-classified road and is narrow, consideration may be given to the widening of the road by the District Council of Pamplemousse.
Yes. The Honourable Third Member for Granby Poudre d'Or.
Merci Madame la Présidente. 484, s'il vous plaît.
Madame la Présidente, je suis informé par la Central Water Authority qu'elle a enregistré un total de 1470 plaintes liées à des conduites d'eau cassées et à des fuites au cours de la période du 1er décembre 2024 à ce jour dans les régions de Granby et de Poudre d'Or. Je suis également informé qu'un total de 1152 travaux de réparation ont été effectués au cours de la même période du 1er décembre 2024 par une équipe interne de la CWA et par des entrepreneurs. À la demande de mon ministère, la CWA a déployé des moyens logistiques supplémentaires et renforcé ses équipes opérationnelles. Ainsi, Madame la Présidente, le nombre d'équipes opérant dans la zone nord est passé de 3 à 4 depuis février 2025. Tous les opérateurs et ouvriers qui effectuaient auparavant des travaux de remplacement des tuyaux en interne ont été transférés à l'équipe de réparation et d'intervention. Ils ont reçu du matériel supplémentaire. En moyenne, cette nouvelle structure, donc cette nouvelle équipe, peut effectuer 216 réparations par mois contre 168 auparavant. Le problème récurrent des ruptures de tuyaux et des fuites dans la région, Madame la Présidente, est en grande partie dû à la présence de canalisations anciennes et défectueuses, notamment dans les secteurs de Pointe-aux-Canonniers, Grand-B, Goodlands, Petit-Raffray, Vale, Rocheterre et Grand-Gobe. Je suis informé que la CWA a identifié 35 km de tuyaux de canalisation défectueuses dans les localités subventionnées qui doivent être remplacés afin d'améliorer l'approvisionnement en eau et la pression.
Yes? Is that all right? The Honourable Third Member for Pamplemousses and Triolet? No?
845, Madam Speaker.
Yes. I understand this is going to be replied by the Honourable Minister of Labour. Yes?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. With regard to Part A of the question, I'm informed by the Financial Services Commission that on 19 June 2023, when the application for a managed corporate service provider license for Maven Management Limited was submitted to the FSC, it was disclosed that Mr. JC would own 100% beneficial ownership of Maven Management Limited. However, I'm also informed that in the same application, it was mentioned that Mr. MG was head of HR and the managing director of Valdez and condition of employment, as well as a review of organizational structure, including men plan for the FSC in June 2022 and December 2022, respectively. The report was approved by the board of the FSC on the 22nd June 2023. Madam Speaker, the fact that staff of the FSC were also called upon to determine an application for a license by the very same person who was reviewing their salary structure raises serious issues of good governance and conflict of interest. And the fact that Mr. JC, who was doing the salary review, ended up having a management license within weeks of making the application raises, again, doubt as to whether this was given as a reward for the report that he has submitted. Madam Speaker, as regards Part B of the question, I'm informed by the FSC that after the staff of the FSC signed the option form to agree to be governed by the report, several staff made representation that the report favored certain positions. In the light of the representation received, Valdez Limited, the consultant, was required to submit an errors, omission, and anomaly report, and same was submitted in April 2024. However, I'm informed that this report has not yet been circulated to the staff. The report is yet to be considered by the board of the FSC.
Yes, Mr. Hoopley.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether a former employee of Valdez Limited was recruited on contract by the Commission just a few months before the review exercise, and the status of the same person was changed to a permanent position just a few weeks before general election started?
Madam Speaker, according to the information communicated to me by the FSC, indeed, there is one Mr. KG, who was an employee, a part-time employee of Valdez, the consultant. He was recruited by the FSC a few weeks before the contract was awarded to Valdez, again raising doubt about the independence of Valdez.
Yes?
Could the Minister advise the House whether his ministry will recommend to the Cabinet, in light of these incestuous relationships that we are seeing prevailing at the FSC, whether he will recommend a complete upheaval of the FSC?
Are you in a position?
The Honourable Member will know that I'm not the substantive Minister, but I'll convey the message to the substantive Minister.
Thank you, Minister. Okay, he will convey. All right, now we have the Honourable Second Member for Savannah Black River, Mr. Jagannath. Yes?
Madam Speaker, please. B486. I thank my honourable friend. The reply will be circulated and you can enjoy reading it.
We didn't hear.
The reply will be circulated.
You will circulate.
Circulate.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, therefore, I have the Honourable Second Member for Rodrigue, Mr. François.
Thank you. B487.
At long last.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the National Development Unit that the bids for the projects drain works at 80 dans Daris, raising of ford at Bay-Topaz, and box culvert upstream and raising of ford at Pistache in Rodrigue were invited on 3rd March 2025 with a closing date of 16 April 2025. The 3 drain projects estimated to cost around 174 million rupees are currently at evaluation stage at the level of the Central Procurement Board. I am further informed that works are expected to start during the next financial year.
Yes. That was Mr. François. You're okay? The Honourable Second Member for Savane Black River, Mr. Jagannath.
Madam Speaker, again, B488.
Madam Speaker, I am advised that the Mont Blanc is a village under the administrative jurisdiction of the District Council of Savane, with approximately 110 inhabitants. According to the outline planning scheme for the Grand Port Savane District Council area, Mont Blanc is situated outside the defined settlement boundary of Chamonix and is located 1.5 kilometers from that boundary. As a result, residents are currently prohibited from undertaking any development projects since such development is only permitted within officially designated settlement boundaries. Following repeated representations from the local residents, the District Council of Savane formally requested the Town and County Planning Board to include Mont Blanc within the settlement boundary. The board, which is responsible for preparing outlines planning schemes, has extended the operative period of the Savane District Council's outline planning scheme to December 2027 to allow for a comprehensive review. Madam Speaker, the Town and County Planning Board has informed my ministry that the rural outline planning schemes were approved in 2006 and revised in 2011 with their validity extended on several occasions, now up to December 2027. These schemes are based on the National Development Strategy, NDS, which was adopted in 2005. In July 2019, a consultancy contract was awarded to review the NDS. Once the revised NDS Vision 2040 is approved, all urban and rural planning schemes will be updated accordingly. Data collection and mapping exercise already began this year in January 2025. Modifications to any scheme, including Mont Blanc request, will be considered during this full review process and not on an ad hoc basis. The specific request to designate Mont Blanc as a minor settlement will be assessed during this comprehensive review. As stipulated by the Town and County Planning Act, any modification to any outline planning scheme requires the formal approval of the President of the Republic. Mont Blanc has been continuously inhabited since 1894 and is served by public transport, electricity, and water supply. The District Council of Savane also provides essential services, including street lighting and refuse collection.
I'm sorry, Minister. There are so many changes I'm trying to follow. All right? Is everybody happy? Any supplementary question? Okay. So now we proceed with Mr. Venkatasamy, third member, and this will be replied by Honourable Minister of Local Government. Is that right?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B489, please.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I will reply to this question as it concerns my ministry. As regard to part A of the question, I am informed that the Saint-Martin Dam Leisure Park project at Kochimitia was approved during the financial year 2017-2018. The proposed development is spread over 12 acres plot of land. Is indeed a good initiative for the region. However, this implementation has been marked by poor planning, doubtful procurement practices, and a fragmented execution strategy under the previous administrations. Instead of adopting a streamlined and transparent design and build model, which would have allowed for better coordination, faster delivery, and improved cost control, the former administration chose to split the project into multiple components. These were allocated to various contractors through a patchwork of procurement method, including requests for seal quotations, restricted bidding, direct procurement, and open advertised bidding. This fragmented approach was project management more difficult and raised serious concern about favorism and lack of transparency. The scope of work, as submitted by the District Council of Mocha, includes the following components: a 2,000 square feet reception building with toilet block, cloakroom, and cafeteria, a 17,000 square feet multipurpose hall with reception area, dining space, kitchen facilities, and separate hall for conferences and other events, 3 natural ponds surrounded by concrete walkways, 1 acre esplanade with children's corner and graded sitting area, a 750-meter health track, an outdoor gym, an endemic garden with walkways, 3 bridges, a road network, and 2 parking spaces with capacity for approximately 250 vehicles. Madam Speaker, with regard to part B of the question on cost overrun and delays, the project was initially estimated at 45 million rupees. However, the cost has now escalated to 77.5 million rupees. Additionally, the District Council of Mocha has indicated a need for a further of 8.5 million rupees to complete the road surfacing within the park. This considerable cost overrun and the lengthy delay, and despite the project having started eight years ago, are largely due to the repeated modification and the inclusion of new components by the previous administration. These additions were not part of the original approved scope of work and had led to unnecessary expenditure and delayed the completion of the project. Such practices are evidence of inadequate planning and poor project oversight by the previous government, resulting in the misuse of public funds and significant delays in providing essential community infrastructure. To address this situation, I have instructed the District Council of Mocha to ensure that the project is fully completed not later than 15 August 2025. In regard to part C of the question concerning the appointment of a quantity surveyor, I wish to inform the House that the District Council of Mocha did not appoint one for this project. Instead, the Public Infrastructure Department of the Council has been responsible for both the design and supervision of works. Madam Speaker, I wish to reassure the Honourable Third Member of Kochimitia and Mocha that the Saint-Martin Dam Leisure Park will be completed by the revised deadline, that is 15 August 2025. My ministry is closely monitoring the final phase of implementation to ensure the project delivered without any further delays. Thank you.
It's okay. Yes, honourable members, I should have informed you that PQB 525 will also be replied by the Honourable Minister of Local Government later. All right? Now we will carry on with Honourable First Member for Port Louis North.
B490, thank you.
Madam Speaker, on 6 February 2025, I was informed by the Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund, a parastatal body under the aegis of my ministry, of 2 highly disturbing incidents. First, the circulation of a video showing an individual dancing a Mauritian song containing foul and offensive language on the grounds of the Troucheny Open Air Museum, located at the foot of Le Mont Blanc mountain, a World Heritage
cultural landscape site. And secondly, the appearance of a large graffiti on the rock of Le Mont Blanc mountain with inscriptions such as Jennifer, JFS, and 2501-2025. Madam Speaker, I am informed that the matter was reported to the police on 7th February 2025, and an entry was duly recorded in the occurrence book at the La Golette police station by an officer of Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund. I am further informed that investigations are going on. Upon being informed, I gave immediate instruction for the removal of the graffiti. Despite the dangerous topography of the mountain and adverse weather conditions which was prevailing at that time, the operation was completed on 19th February 2025 by a guide from Le Monde village with the assistance of a heritage guide from the Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund. The first attempt on 8th February removed 90% of the markings, and the second succeeded fully. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, this was not an isolated occurrence. On 12th March 2025, a video circulated on TikTok showing two individuals sitting on the cross at the summit of Le Mont Blanc mountain, presumably consuming alcohol. The video provoked national indignation, and the individuals concerned issued a public apology on 14th March 2025. Madam Speaker, what is of equal concern and regret is the failure of the previous government and the former board of the Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund to have ever established a formal protocol or proactive framework to prevent or swiftly address such acts. After years of relentless effort and advocacy under the administration of the then Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Navin Chandra Ramgoolam, Le Monde was proudly inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008. Yet, despite this historic achievement, the regime that came to power in 2014 unfortunately displayed a shocking level of neglect. For nearly a decade, they failed to implement even the most basic protective measures. No signage, no surveillance, no preventive strategy, and not even a contingency plan to address acts of desecration or vandalism. Such negligence reflects a profound disregard for the preservation of one of our nation's most sacred heritage sites. Madam Speaker, upon taking cognizance of this incident, my ministry convened an emergency meeting with Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund and launched a comprehensive set of measures, namely, first, installation of prominent signage at key points across Le Monde cultural landscape to inform visitors of the sacredness of the site and prohibit disrespectful actions. Second, further develop education and awareness among local communities, schools, and tourists to cultivate a sense of reverence and historical consciousness. Third, enhance surveillance and law enforcement cooperation with relevant authorities. Fourth, development of a formal contingency and incident response protocol to be administered by the Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to inform the House that bids for signage panels have already been launched and installation will start shortly. The urgent measures are well underway. Furthermore, unlike my predecessors, I am taking steps to initiate a review of the Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund Act and relevant laws with the assistance of the Attorney General's Office to introduce explicit provisions and appropriate sanctions against desecration, vandalism, or acts causing more moral damage to sacred and heritage sites. Presently, the only applicable legal provision remains Section 17 of the National Heritage Fund Act 2003, which narrowly addresses unlawful damage or defacement. This legal vacuum concerning moral desecration will no longer be tolerated. Madam Speaker, my ministry remains steadfast in its mission to preserve the sanctity and dignity of Le Monde and all other heritage sites across Mauritius. And we shall act with both firmness and foresight, something that regrettably has been missing for far too long. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We've got 3 minutes left only. Honourable Third Member for Beaubassin, Petite Rivière.
Before 9-1, please.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, in light of the number of advisors attached to my ministry, which include 15 advisor coaches, I'm tabling all the requested information.
Thank you. Yes.
Merci, Madame la
One
Présidente.
supplementary.
Oui, peut-on savoir parmi les conseillers de l'honorable ministre des Sports s'il y en a parmi qui cumulent une deuxième fonction tombant sous un autre organisme de son ministère? Si oui, lequel? Ses responsabilités et bien sûr ses salaires et autres avantages.
Are you able to answer
Madam
that?
Speaker, I'm
Yes.
not aware of what the member is saying. I will check and report to the House.
Of course, you can come back with another question once you see the paper tabled.
J'espère, Madame la Présidente, que
Of
j'aurai la réponse.
L'espoir fait vivre.
Ah non, je ne suis pas un imbécile, hein? Je suis pas un imbécile.
Of course.
I think we can go for lunch now. Thank you. Vous avez attention.